Hi, I'm Lila Vale, and I risked everything. My savings, my reputation, my future, co-signing a $15 million 0 cents loan for my sister's startup, believing her tearful pleas that I was her only hope. Then she didn't just erase me from her victory, she branded me a nobody in our family's eyes, smirking as she stole my legacy. The real sting? They planned my erasure from the start. What would you do if your sister turned your sacrifice into her spotlight and left you in the dark? Stay with me, because this betrayal burns hotter and the reckoning hits harder. Before we dive in, what time is it where you are, and from where are you reading? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. The signature that erased me. There's something almost ritualistic about signing your name on a document that shifts your world. The weighty pen, the hushed room, the knot in your stomach. I felt it all when I co-signed that loan for Tessa. She called me during a budget review meeting. My assistant whispered, "It's your sister," and I stepped out of the sleek boardroom with a curt nod. Her voice was frantic, trembling, the way it always was when she needed something huge. "Leela, I'm desperate," she said. "The funding's so close. I just need a co-signer for the bank to lock in the $15 million. 0 cents bridge." They love the pitch, but they want a proven financial record. Proven financial record. That's what I'd been reduced to, a credit score and a signature she could exploit. "You're the only one I trust, Lila," she added, her voice cracking. "Without you, Vynix is dead." Still, I went. I met her at a trendy bistro on Pearl Street, the kind that charges $12 0 cents for overbrewed latte in a ceramic mug. She looked dazzling. Sharp bob, glossy pitch deck in hand, founder bolded under her name. She slid the folder toward me, her eyes glistening. "It's routine," she said, flashing those wide, pleading eyes. "Without this, the investors bolt." "You're saving my dream." I read every page, marked clauses, requested a digital copy, had my assistant triple-check the liability terms. I wasn't careless. I wasn't signing blindly. Clause 5.1, I noted, "I'm not surrendering equity rights, this is purely collateral backing." She brushed it off. "Obviously, you're just helping me get the funds. You'll always get full credit. I'd never forget you." She grabbed my hand and whispered, "There'd be no Vynix without you. I'll make sure everyone knows." Those words echoed as I signed. At the table she leaned in, voice low. "You're my hero, Lila. I'll never let you down." Her smile was so earnest, I believed her. Back at my loft that night, I scanned every document, labeled them, filed them. I wasn't anxious, but I wasn't reckless either. My daughter, Aria, was sprawled on the couch, sketching for her art class. I asked how school was. She muttered about a girl named Zoe and group projects being a hassle. "Mom, why is Aunt Tessa always so busy?" she asked, pencil pausing. "She's chasing something big," I said, forcing a smile. "But family stays close, right? Motherhood and sisterhood both demand quiet surrender." The next few weeks blurred by. Vynix got funded. Tessa's name splashed across every tech blog. She started wearing all black. Her texts grew curt. No more emojis or XOXO sis. Just forward to legal, need signature, or worse, silence. I called to check in after her Forbes feature. "Tessa, it's me," I said to her voicemail. "So proud of you." No reply. I texted, "Hey, superstar." "Don't forget your boring sister." It went unanswered. I chalked it up to launch pressure. I know that grind too well. But the gap widened. When I messaged to cheer her on after spotting her in Wired, I got no response. I assumed she was swamped. A week later, I called, straight to voicemail. I sent a playful, "Don't ghost your dull big sis" on Signal. It sat unread. I checked her LinkedIn. Posts were live. Cocktails with her CTO, panels in San Francisco, yacht parties in Miami. I wasn't in any of them. Her latest post read, "Built Vynix from my heart. No handouts, no help." My chest tightened, but I told myself it was just marketing flair. That weekend, I ran into our cousin Mara at a market in Boulder. "So proud of Tessa," she beamed. She said she built Vynix from nothing. Can you believe it? I smiled tightly. My heart didn't. She didn't mention you helped, Mara added, frowning. Did something happen? Just busy times, I lied, but the doubt took root. When I got home, I sat on my bed's edge, opened the safe and pulled the folder labeled Vynix Loan 2024. Page 7, paragraph 3, subsection B. The co-borrower retains residual financial and collateral interest in all distributed and retained assets per section 6.2 unless modified, in writing. She hadn't modified anything. She couldn't. I wasn't a shadow. I was inked on every page. I tried calling again. Blocked. Texted. Undelivered. I even emailed her COO to check on her. The reply, "Hi Lila, please direct all external queries to our media team. Regards, Quinn." Media team. She had a media team? I called Mom, hoping for clarity. "Have you talked to Tessa?" I asked. "She's thriving," Mom gushed. "Said she did it all on her own. You must be so proud of her." The words were a knife twist. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not from rage, but from clarity. She hadn't just sidelined me socially. She'd excised me surgically. I stood in the kitchen, staring at my reflection in the fridge door. It looked weary, but unbowed. I whispered, like a pledge, "You may have blocked me, Tessa, but my name's still in ink. And I'm coming for what's mine." Ink I deleted by design. The next morning I sat with my laptop, documents fanned across the dining table like silent jurors, tea half drunk. My fingers paused over the keys. I wasn't just curious. I was hunting proof. Searching Vynix plus funding round, I braced for a mention, even a footnote. Thanks to my sister for her support. Instead, the top hit read, "Tessa Vale, the lone genius behind Vynix's $15 million 0 cents triumph." Lone genius. I clicked. My name was absent. I scrolled. Nothing. I opened tab after tab. Press releases, investor updates, interviews, all parroting the same script. Built from nothing, self-funded. No one helped. No one. I found her keynote speech on YouTube. "I started Vynix with a dream and a laptop," she said, eyes gleaming. "No safety net, no co-founder, just me." My hands shook as I closed the tab. I pulled up the investor deck she'd sent me a year ago, the one I'd drafted, refined, perfected over sleepless nights while Arya slept nearby. My DNA was in it, but the online version, glossy, stripped, bore none of my work. My figures remained, but the story was hers. Rewritten to erase me, not an oversight, a calculated purge. I closed my eyes. My head throbbed, not from exhaustion, but from betrayal etched into a PDF. I called my best friend Clara, voice trembling. "She's erased me, Clara. Every article, every slide. It's like I never existed." Clara's voice was steel. "She didn't just erase you, Lila. She stole you. Get your proof and fight." Around 1 p.m., I dragged myself out of the loft. I'd promised Arya we'd hit the family picnic. I hoped for normalcy. Cousins joking, grilling hot dogs, life. When we arrived, Mom was boasting to a neighbor about Tessa's latest headshots. "She's a star, I swear. Look at that poise, like a senator." I tried not to wince. And can you believe she did it all solo? Not a dime from anyone, built it from the ground up. From the ground up. As if I hadn't staked 2 decades of financial security to launch her. I grabbed a lemonade and lingered by the garden gate, letting the autumn breeze cool my face, but I couldn't dodge it. "She's the real talent in this family," Dad added, passing me. "Always had that spark." Then he turned, offered a kind smile, and said, "And you, Lila? You've always been the steady one, the background prop." I confronted Mom later, voice low. "Well, do you say Tessa did it alone? I co-signed her loan." Mom blinked, confused. "She said you just helped with paperwork, nothing big." I walked away, her words a fresh wound. That night, I helped Arya with a history project on revolutions. Apt. One spark ignites another. Remove a cornerstone and the structure falls. As she packed her markers, she looked up. "Mom, why's Aunt Tessa on TV saying she did it all if you helped?" "That didn't sting. It carved." I couldn't explain betrayal to an 11-year-old, so I said, "Sometimes people forget who lifted them." "That's not forgetting," Arya said, eyes sharp. "That's lying." She nodded, not fully grasping, but she would someday. After she slept, I reopened the Vynix Loan 2024 folder, clicked Vynix_loan_2024_full_signature PL, and stared at my name, page after page, annotated, initialed, undeniable. I whispered, "You erased me from the story, Tessa, but it's still got my signature, and I'm about to make it scream." The contract she hoped I'd never read. The next morning, I skipped breakfast, tied my hair back, and opened the encrypted folder Vynix Legal Archive on a secure drive I hadn't touched since tax season. After rereading the loan agreement and seeing my name like a wound she tried to hide, I knew I had to dig deeper. In a subfolder labeled Post-Funding Docs, I found a file I didn't recognize. Financing_confirmation_2024P. I opened it. The wording was labyrinthine, not overtly deceitful, just sly. Terms like non-claimant status and waiver of proprietary rights hid among bland headers. It took 3 reads to grasp it. If I hadn't signed this within 45 days of receipt, I could challenge it. If I had, I'd have forfeited all legal claims to the company's IP or equity. My pulse quickened. I searched my inbox and found it, an email from Tessa's team. "Hey Lila, quick signature needed for admin cleanup. No rush if you're swamped." Sent at 6:15 a.m. on a Monday when I was rushing Arya to school, prepping for a 10 a.m. client pitch, and juggling a tax audit. I called Tessa that day, left a voicemail. "What's this document? Why wasn't I briefed?" No response. I remembered it. I never signed. I was cutting apples for Arya's lunch and meant to review it later. I didn't. Back then I thought it was sloppy. Now I knew it saved me. I stood, the room's air heavier, like someone had just fled it. The lie had grown quietly, like rust under paint, and I'd only now peeled it back. "Mom!" I turned. Arya stood in the doorway, clutching her tablet, one sock slipping down. Her voice was small but heavy. "Is it true? Aunt Tessa said she made Vynix all alone?" There it was, the polished myth seeping into my daughter's world. I knelt, brushing her braid back. "Not entirely," I said softly, "but some people forget who helped." She frowned. Why would she lie? I couldn't unpack greed and rivalry for an 11-year-old, so I kissed her forehead. "Some people fear looking small, so they erase who made them bigger." "That's mean," Arya said, eyes narrowing. "You should tell everyone." That night, after Arya was in bed, I returned to the document. No signature, just a highlighted pending field. A surge, sharp, electric, ran through me. I replied to the original email, fingers flying. Subject: formal notice of non-signature. This is my explicit refusal to sign or acknowledge the attached document in any form, past, present, or future. Regards, Lila Vale. I forwarded it to my attorney Nora with a note. She tried to trick me, let's hit back. I hit send, leaned back, and felt not peace, but power. She thought she'd lock me out. She didn't know I still held the key. Spotlights are for liars. The next afternoon, sifting through junk mail, I spotted an email. Vynix Launch Gala. Join us for a night of innovation. No personal note, just a mass invite to every VC, influencer, and tech wannabe who knew the company's name. I stared at the RSVP button. I wasn't on the list, not truly, but I'd made the list possible. So I clicked, and I went. The gala was at the Solace Grand Hotel downtown. All glass walls and chandeliers like frozen starbursts. Everyone was overdressed, buzzing around selfie booths with hashtags I'd brainstormed. I sat in the back, away from the press and Tessa's curated clique. No one noticed me. Or they chose not to. That didn't surprise me anymore. The lights dimmed, music swelled, spotlights flared, and there was Tessa. in emerald green, striding onto the stage with the poise of someone who believed the world was hers. She smiled. A rehearsed, mirror-perfected smile. "Thank you for being here," she began, voice smooth as silk. "Vynix is my vision, my grind, my sleepless nights and boundless dreams. Tonight, we celebrate a journey from 0 to $15 million, 0 cents, in 18 months. There it was. Not a nod to my hours, my risk. Slide after slide glowed behind her. User stats I'd crunched, growth models I'd built, revenue forecasts I'd turned from doodles into investor gold. I leaned forward, stomach twisting, but I didn't look away. She closed with a flourish. "None of this would have happened without my team," she said, nodding to a front table. "Especially our lead developer, Quinn Teller, who coded our core platform." The screen flashed. Founder, Tessa Vale. Technical lead, Quinn Teller. No CFO, no financial strategist, no Lila Vale. She paused, eyes scanning the room, and added, "I built this alone with no crutches, no coattails." The jab was clear. She meant me. The room roared with applause, standing, clapping, cheering. I stood too, quietly, and slipped out before the appetizers. In the lobby, a man in a tailored blazer glanced up from his phone. "You worked with Tessa, right?" I met his gaze. "She worked with me." His eyes sparked curiosity. "I'm Elias Kane, Apex Ventures." We shook hands, firm. "I know your work, Lila," he said. "Her decks have your signature all over them. Let's talk soon." A week later, I got a call from an unknown number. "Lila Vale, this is Mara from Helix Capital. Our seed fund has pulled its bridge pledge to Vynix, effective now. Issues with founding transparency." I said nothing. She didn't expect me to. She hung up. That night, after Aria was asleep, I sat with my attorney Nora in her office, a mug of chamomile tea in hand, my laptop open. "I went," I told her. Nora peered over her glasses. "Figured you would." "She made it clear," I said. "The story's hers now." Nora sipped her tea. "Then we carve out your story." I stared at the spreadsheet on my screen, the one Tessa used in her deck. My name was gone, but every formula was mine. I shut the laptop and met Nora's eyes. "I'm done watching. I'm all in now." "Good," Nora said, "because Tessa just posted on X, calling you a jealous bystander trying to hijack her success. It's got 10,000 likes." My jaw clenched. She's baiting me. "She's panicking," Nora corrected. "Let's give her something to panic about." Pictures and silhouettes. Nora didn't speak for nearly 3 minutes. That's how I knew something was off. She stared at the screen, fingers gliding over the trackpad, reloading the same contract repeatedly. We were in her office, 3 T's deep, surrounded by annotated files. The air smelled of worn leather and resolve. I leaned in. "What's wrong?" She tapped the screen. "This clause wasn't here before." I squinted. It looked like the document Tessa's team sent 6 months ago, but a new line lurked at the bottom. "Sole operational liability rests with the founding entity unless altered by mutual signature." "What's that mean?" I asked, dread rising. Nora's voice hardened. "It means if anyone tries to hold her accountable, she can claim she's been structurally removed from financial liability unless we prove the clause was added later." My breath caught. Tessa hadn't just lied. She'd rigged the game. Nora pulled the original document I'd saved. "You never signed this, right?" "No," I said. "I was swamped that day. Aria school play, a client deadline. I meant to check it later." "She banked on your trust," Nora said bluntly, "and lost." I pulled up my email. She sent me a follow-up, said it was urgent, but no big deal. I ignored it. "Smart," Nora said. "That's our leverage." Just then, my phone pinged, an email from Ethan Cole, subject, "Found something." "Lila, I didn't know who else to tell, but something's off. Routine audit flagged a $1,800,000 0 cents transfer from the Series B escrow to a private trust in Guernsey. Tessa's name's on it. She used the offshore structure we only discussed as a hypothetical. Never authorized. Ethan, I stared, jaw tight. The numbers glared like a trap. She wasn't just erasing me. She was looting the company we built. Nora read over my shoulder and exhaled. This isn't civil anymore. It's criminal. I turned to her. We write a letter, not to Tessa, to the board, the regulators if needed, and we go public, I added, voice steady. She's not just stealing from me, she's stealing from investors. Nora nodded, typing. Our letter was surgical, listing contract discrepancies, attaching time-stamped originals, including Ethan's email, redacted, but damning. Before printing, I added a handwritten line. You have 10 days to correct the record, or I will. We emailed, faxed, and couriered it to every board member. I called Ethan. Are you safe? I asked. His voice was shaky. I think so, but I'm lying low. They're watching me. Stay hidden, I said. I've got this. Then I went home drained but focused. While prepping Arya's dinner, I found a flyer in her backpack. Women in Tech, Denver. With Tessa's photo in a jacket she'd once borrowed from me. Caption. Meet the pioneering founder of Vynix. I laughed, not angrily, just at the irony of someone scripting their own downfall and calling it a victory. She thinks she owns the narrative, I muttered. Not for long. Lines she shouldn't have crossed. I was slicing pears for Arya's lunch when my phone buzzed again. A LinkedIn alert. Vynix founder Tessa Vale dazzles at Women in Tech Denver. I built it all alone. The quote went viral. Her face beamed under it, smiling like the world was her stage. I clicked the video. I faced every obstacle solo, she said, voice dripping with conviction. No one carried me. The comment section was brutal. What about Lila Vale? Her name's on the loan doc, I grinned, forwarding it to Nora. They're catching on, I said. I didn't smash the phone. I didn't shout. I stared, letting the silence harden around me. Then I opened my laptop. Nora and I had prepped the draft, every word weighed, every period deliberate. Not vengeance, correction, legal, exact, unassailable. I hit send. The notice was clear. I was asserting my retained financial interest in Vynix, claiming co-ownership of IP from Seed and Series A, and demanding a pre-IPO legal freeze until resolved. Nora filed copies with the Colorado Division of Corporations, the SEC's fraud unit, and every board member. We sent a certified letter to Vynix office. I tweeted from my professional account. Truth doesn't hide forever. Vynix's real story starts with those who built it, not those who stole it. Lila Vale. It got 5,000 retweets in an hour. By 2 p.m., the ripples began. Vynix investor Discord went silent. Their counsel issued a cryptic email. We're reviewing historical agreements for transparency. Tessa doubled down. Her PR team released a statement. We reject all claims. Our founder acted independently. Any contrary assertions are baseless distractions. That's what I was now. She called me, voice icy. Lila, stop this. You're embarrassing yourself. I laughed. Embarrassing? You stole $1,800,000, 0 cents, and my work. The SEC's watching, Tessa. She hung up, but I heard her panic. At home, I sat cross-legged on my bed, laptop glowing. I opened a OneDrive folder I'd built over weeks. Every receipt Tessa thought I'd discard. Original pitch decks with metadata, emails where she thanked me for Series A valuations, whiteboard photos with my handwriting, the bank email confirming my $15 million 0 cents loan co-signature. I shared it privately with 2 journalists I knew from my finance days, now at Reuters and TechCrunch. One replied in 15 minutes. This is huge. You sure you want this public? I typed deliberately. I'm past ready. The next morning, headlines stayed quiet, but comment sections erupted. Under every Vynix post, questions sprouted. Who's Lila Vale? Why's her name on the Series A docs? Why'd Tessa say she was solo? Tessa posted on Instagram. Haters will hate, but I built Vynix with my blood and tears. Don't believe the noise. Comments flooded. What about Lila's loan? Receipts don't lie. Within 72 hours, a Substack post trended. Vynix hidden founder. My documents were shared, dissected, time-stamped. Someone spotted Vynix's first domain registered under my old firm's license. It wasn't a flood, but a steady drip Tessa couldn't stop. That night, as I tucked Aria in, my phone vibrated. Blocked number. I answered. Silence. Then a single line, "Stay quiet or it gets worse." I didn't react. I let the silence stretch and hung up. I called Nora immediately. "She's threatening me," I said, forwarding the call log. "Add intimidation to the list." In the kitchen, I poured water and stood by the window, city lights pulsing like a heartbeat. "This is your limit, Tessa," I whispered. "I'm just getting started." Threats don't scare me. Receipts do the talking. I didn't sleep, sitting on my bed's edge after Aria's nightlight dimmed, phone in hand, staring at that call. I forwarded the threat to Nora instantly. She replied in 7 minutes, "Call me at dawn. Lock your doors." At her office the next morning, she had the threat printed and was outlining an escalation plan. "This isn't just family drama," she said. "It's a corporate cover-up with you as the target." Then Ethan texted, "I'm being followed." Attached was a grainy photo. His car windshield, a black sedan idling across the street, no plates visible. Another message, "Can't risk more. Docks in storage unit off Route 36, locker 512. Codes your birthday. Take them. Use them." Nora exhaled sharply. "If he's this spooked, that locker's a goldmine." "She's desperate," I said. "She knows I've got her." That afternoon, while Nora drafted protective motions and hired a PI, I drove to the storage park near the interstate. Concrete rows, metal doors, eerie quiet. Locker 512 groaned open. Inside, under a tarp in a duffel, were bank statements, wire receipts, screenshots of Tessa's offshore moves, and a file, Vynix_amendments_2024docx. It wasn't just money. It was a deliberate erasure of my role, signed by those who should have known better. I called Ethan from a burner phone. "You okay?" "Barely," he whispered. "They're tailing me." "Get those docs to the feds." I promised I would. Back home, Nora called, voice taut. Tessa's team sent a cease and desist, claiming defamation, fraud, and reputational damage. I scoffed. "That's a tantrum in legalese." "She's flailing," Nora said, "trying to drown you in chaos." "Let her," I said. Receipts cut through noise. We filed our response in hours, point by point, evidence-based, no fluff. Nora CC, Vynix's investors and board. Subject: retained claims and IP records for immediate review. I posted on LinkedIn. Vynix's story isn't one person's. It's built on shared sacrifice, erased by greed. Truth is coming. Lila Vale. It got 20,000 views overnight. That night, my inbox flared. A journalist I'd shared my OneDrive with wrote, "Tessa's team canceled their TEDx talk tomorrow." No explanation, but we got a leak, emails between her and a Guernsey banker matching Ethan's docs. I smiled, not triumphantly, but clearly. The story was cracking, deliberately. On LinkedIn, Vynix posts became battlegrounds. Comments read, "Why's Lila Vale on these files? Anyone seen the original decks? She's the real architect." A Reddit thread blew up. Vynix's hidden founder. Then an email from Tessa. Subject: "You win." I didn't open it. I didn't need to. I texted Nora. "She's folding. Push harder." I leaned back and exhaled. "It's not winning," I said aloud. "It's remembering who built what." Courtrooms have better lighting than stages. The sun was cresting the Denver skyline when I stepped from a lift onto the curb outside Vynix's Chrome and Glass HQ. Nora waited by a pillar, navy suit, briefcase in hand. Her nod was brief, eyes steely, a fighter ready. The receptionist ushered us through without a word. They knew why we were here. The elevator purred to the 18th floor, where the boardroom waited like a coliseum before a reckoning. The glass doors parted. Inside, the air was taut, fragile. Every investor, some from early pitches, some new, sat around the oval table, spectators to a silent war. At the far end, Tessa, in a cobalt blazer, lips tight in a facsimile of confidence. It didn't reach her eyes. She glared at me, whispering to her lawyer, "She's bluffing. She's got nothing." I met her eyes, unflinching. "Keep talking, Tessa. The truth's louder." The board chair gestured. "Ms. Vale, your floor." I opened my folder, but didn't need it. I knew every syllable. "I'll start with the co-loan agreement signed by Tessa Vale and myself, establishing joint financial liability and co-control. I distributed copies of the original investor decks, metadata intact. These were authored by me, projections, strategic plans, market segments." Nora handed out a forensic timeline. "Emails, logs, flagged account changes." I paused at the wire receipts. "These show $1,800,000 0 cents diverted to a Guernsey trust before the Series B close without board approval." Gasps were soft but real. An investor whispered, "She was the spine all along." Tessa interrupted, voice shrill. "This is a lie! I built Vynix, not her!" I held up a hand. "The documents speak for themselves." "Want to see the offshore account emails?" She paled, sinking back. The chair cleared his throat. "Ms. Tessa Vale, your response." Tessa stood too fast, papers scattering. She didn't retrieve them. "She's distorting everything. She never cared about Vynix, just wanted glory. I was the face, the soul." No one spoke. "She's a bitter ghost rewriting history," she spat. "Correction," Nora said coolly. "She's reclaiming the history she was erased from." Silence stretched. The chair nodded slowly, turning to the investors on Zoom. "We've reviewed the evidence. Effective immediately, Tessa Vale will step down as CEO. Lila Vale's ownership stake is reinstated and will be publicly acknowledged. The IPO is paused for a full financial audit." Tessa screamed, "You can't do this! I am Vynix!" The chair ignored her, motioning for security. She was escorted out, still shouting. Nora squeezed my arm. "This is what we fought for." I nodded, feeling no thrill, just calm. This wasn't about titles, it was about restoring what was mine. An hour later, Vynix's website updated. I watched my name appear on the founder page. I tweeted, "Vynix Truth is out, built by many, claimed by one. Lila Vale." It trended globally. Outside in the lobby, reporters waited. One stepped forward, mic out. "Mrs. Vale, what would you tell your younger self watching this?" I paused, feeling the years it took to reach this. "When someone asks you to sign," I said, eyes on the camera, "ask, who's signing for you?" They took my credit, I took back my voice. By the time I got home, the wind had turned. Winter was here. Leaves no longer swirled. They stuck to the pavement. For the first time in months, I rested in the quiet. 4 months had passed since the boardroom clash. Vynix was running, but under scrutiny. Tessa vanished from every platform, every gala, every byline. I wasn't chasing headlines anymore. I was chasing calm. Aria and I resumed our weekend hikes. There's a small trail 5 blocks from the condo with a stone bench by a creek. It's simple, but it's ours. That morning, I watched her skip rocks, her giggles bouncing off the water. My tea was cold, but I didn't care. I didn't need a jolt to feel awake. My phone flashed a headline that went viral overnight. "Vynix confirms co-founder's role after legal fight. Lila Vale reinstated." Below, in bold, Vale, the mind behind the mission. The byline was a journalist I'd once coached. I smiled. The piece was plain, honest, a clear recounting of what was done, hidden, and reclaimed. No venom, just truth. Tessa got a brief mention, no comment. The IRS was reviewing her offshore accounts. The SEC had launched a probe. While the internet speculated, I was done caring. Investors reached out again, ones who'd once ghosted me, now eager for my next move. I told them all, I built something once, it was stolen, now I'm building peace. That afternoon, Aria ran from the trail, clutching a poster board smeared with paint and sequins. "Mom, look, my project," titled Women Who Inspired. It had me below Ruth Bader Ginsburg. My voice caught. "Arya, why me?" I asked. "Because you fought for what's yours," she said, eyes fierce. "And you won." I pulled her close, breathing in her lavender-scented hair. I didn't cry from pain, but from something deeper. Gratitude that she saw me not for what was taken, but what I rebuilt. That night, a voicemail from my parents. Mom's voice, hesitant. "We saw the news. We're proud of how you handled it. Tessa, she made errors. No apology, just vague pride." I played it for Nora. "They're hedging," she said. "Be me know Tessa's done." I nodded. "And I'm not going back." I didn't call back. Some silences deserve to stay whole. Later, on the couch, blanket over my legs, I refreshed my email. There it was, from Tessa. Subject, "I hope you'll forgive me." I didn't open it. I didn't need to. I whispered to the quiet walls. "I already have, but I won't forget, and I'll never let you rewrite me again." Forgiveness, I'd learned, isn't always absolution. Sometimes it's shedding their burden. I closed the laptop, doused the light, and looked out. Denver's holiday lights twinkled, but I wasn't seeking a spotlight. I had my daughter, my name, my peace. Sometimes those closest to us rewrite the truth, not for accuracy, but to avoid admitting who showed up. Lila's story reminds us that credit can be stolen, trust shattered, but character? That's untouchable. Have you been overlooked by family? How did you reclaim your voice? Share in the comments, we read every one. If Lila's fight stirred you, subscribe. More stories are coming to spark your heart and maybe help you take back your own truth. See you in the next